Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Kinch. I'm the Communications Director for Shawnee Heights USD 450. This presentation, we will go over the communication survey that was sent out to parents and guardians here at the beginning of the year. The survey was sent to over 3,500 contacts, parents, and guardians, and was open for 2 weeks from August 21st through September 3rd. So, a total of 512 parents and guardians participated in the survey, and each school did have representation. However, a majority, 43.8% of survey takers had students that were or had been at the high school. So, that pans out as we have the most students at the high school. 92.4% of parents and guardians manage school communication on their phone. While this probably doesn't shock anyone, it's important for us to keep this in the forefront of our minds when we develop or change our communication plan, such as this fact will affect what we communicate, how we communicate, and when we communicate. Now that we know what device most parents and guardians are using, we went through a series of questions asking how they would like to receive different types of messages. Each type of message was met with 7 choices to communicate that message. So, 3 direct means of communication, meaning the message is sent directly to the audience. Those are email, text messages, and push notifications to the app. And then we had 3 indirect means of communication, meaning the audience would have to come to that information or go find it. So those were school newsletter, website, and social media. Now, we did also add in the automated phone call, which is another direct means of communication. So when asked, how do you prefer to receive messages about reminders? 88.7% of people wanted that text message, and 76.2% of people wanted that email. It's also important to note that you could have chosen as many options as you wanted on these. So the next question was, how do you prefer to receive messages about concerts, games, or other events? So 80.7% of people wanted that text message, and again, 73.4% of people wanted that email. How do you prefer to receive message about school logistics? 77.7% of people wanted that text message again, and 72.9% wanted email. Student and staff accomplishments. 68.4% of people wanted an email on this one, and 51.4% wanted a text message. Messages about calendar events. 74% of people wanted email, 61.3% wanted a text message. We kind of had a mix of the overall of the rest of them. Messages about community events and opportunities. 70.1% wanted an email, and 50.4% wanted a text message. Messages about inclement weather days. 98.6% of people wanted that text message, and 59.4% of people wanted that email. We did have that automated phone call come in a little bit on this one at 30.1%. And messages about emergency notifications. 97.9% of people wanted a text message, 54.9% of people wanted email, and that automated phone call came in even more on this one at 45.7%. So the next question was, how often do you prefer general communication? At a classroom level, 67.4% would like weekly communication. 68.6% would like weekly communication at that school level, and 73.4% of survey takers wanted monthly communication from the district. The next question, do you feel like you are receiving too much or too little communication? 71% of survey takers felt that they are receiving just enough communication. And did you opt out of district and school text messages? If so, why? So I can always see after sending a text that the reason why it fails. I do come across a handful of fails because they have opted out of text messaging, and I wanted to get a feel for how many people have opted out and why. So there was 89.9% of people who said they have not opted out. There was 2% of people who said that they have. And there were lots of different reasons, things like getting too many texts, getting texts about things they don't care about, prefer to get messages from the school and district via email, things like that. There were 8.2% of people who did not know if they had opted out of text messaging or not. Would you prefer push notification over text messages if it meant that you could choose which messages you would receive? This is the one question that I really had that started to push the release of this communication survey. I wanted to know if parents wanted text messages, even if it meant that it was all or nothing, or if they would prefer push notifications if they were able to opt in or out of the message types that they cared about. So, the yes at 19.1% was I would like to choose which push notifications to receive and opt out of the notifications I don't care about. The no at 39.6% was I need a text to be alerted to the message and I will just ignore the messages I don't care about. And the 41.2%, the either is fine. I just need to know what to pay attention to. So I was a little surprised by the results of this question, thinking that the split was going to be between text and push notification, but really the split was between text and I can go either way. So we'll have to pay attention to that. The next question, have you participated in a class who used Remind as their communication tool? The next two questions focus on our classroom communication. We use a tool called Remind, and a little background on Remind is many times I have heard from parents that there are too many apps or places to go to find classroom communication. So one teacher might use one thing while the other teacher uses something else. And before selecting Remind, I had a survey go out to teachers to see what they would like in a tool. Overwhelmingly, they wanted a tool that would send a text. Remind was that solution at the time, and it provided that text message along with other wants and needs of teachers, such as being able to see if a parent checked the message. We have been implementing this tool with teachers for the past 4 years, and at this time, Remind is not required for teachers to use, but among email, phone calls, and backpack mail, it is the only other tool that is district approved. So 68% of parents who took this survey say they have had a teacher who used Remind as their communication tool. How have you set your Remind message preferences? This question was to give me another level of insight on how most would like to not only receive classroom communication, but also how they might prefer district and school level communication if they could customize the way they received communication at a school and district level. So it was interesting because, as we saw from our messages questions from before, most people wanted to receive text and emails when we were talking about school and district communication. However, push notification won this battle at 29.2%, barely over text messages at 28.7%, and email came in third at 20.7% when it came to how they have chosen to set their message preferences in Remind. There were a fair amount of people, 13.7%, who didn't know that they could set their preferences. So at the end of the survey, I had some open-ended questions because I wanted to hear about what the parents thought. So some of the comments we got were Remind is a great tool that the district uses and has worked very well. Prefer if teachers didn't use Remind app. Text messages are easier to receive due to too much junk mail. I miss a lot of important emails because of this. All communication via email would be great. I think the district gets their information out great. I have no issues with the way the district communicates. There are too many apps. If you have one student and one school, I'm sure it's fine. I honestly appreciate the communication the district has with the parents. I'm one of the many who want text messages and very quickly zone out because of them. I have greatly appreciated how relevant, thoughtful, and thorough the communications have been thus far, and consistency across the district with all communication. Now, I did throw in adopt the Aptigee platform and use Rooms as well because we actually do use Aptigee. We don't use Rooms yet, but we do use Aptigee, so that was a fun comment to read. Now, after reading every comment, there were some yikes moments, some moments of appreciation, and even some confusion. And what all that told me is that what one person might want, another person doesn't. And while it's hard to make everyone happy, I'm sure going to try. So, what I gathered the most from the data and the comments were that we need to implement a more organized, unified, and consistent communication plan throughout the district. And if possible, provide a more customizable communication solution for our parents and guardians so they can manage communication in the way that they like. So, those were the results of the Parent Guardian Communication Survey. I want to thank all of the parents and guardians who took the time to take the survey. Our next steps will be to determine a strategy to improve, organize, and unify our communication using the information we have learned in the survey. That way, we can provide intentional and consistent communication throughout the district. So if you have any questions or concerns or any more comments, I'm always all ears. So you are welcome to email me at kinscht@usd450.net. Thank you.